Welcome to the City Council Finance Subcommittee meeting of May 28th. First item of business is minutes from the prior meeting. I don't believe they're available since they were last.
The next meeting.
Thank you, Councilor Risk. Mayor's communication.
I think you have enough again on this agenda.
Thank you. Public speak. Is there anyone here to speak on a matter that's not on the thing?
Yes,
No
it's
public
yours.
speakers. We have one police item that we'll take up after the police presentation on public safety. What I'd like to do is change the agenda a little and start with Section 6 again that we didn't finish with Mr. Mason, and then go to Public Works because Public Works we started last night, at least in the enterprise, and finished them. I did inform both Chief Motter and Captain Alberti that we would take them up a little later in the meeting so they didn't have to be here at 6 if they did not so desire. If they did not so desire.
Crime is all handled in the city, so we're all set.
So if we could go back to Section 6 and go to Parks, I believe it's on page 2 of 8. Recreation Department.
How many people on your staff, Joe?
Oh, boy.
Are you looking for the,
Just
6,500 or total between Parks and Rec?
on this particular, just in recreation, the salary, the 5,600, just the number of people.
It's
Just
60 now.
well, yes.
Is that a step? That must be a step.
Yes, probably the COLA and a step. We discussed it, remember, with the city.
You can bring those parts.
Yeah, I got it with me. All right, so we're on 6310 here.
Right.
Yeah, 63.
First one, that line item, 5111 is just me.
That's you.
Yep. The second one, the clerical, is just Sam, and that position is funded partly through the city account there, and then the other funding, 13 weeks, is funded through our program income. So we fund that year round, but we only charge the city 39 weeks for a position.
When you say program income, John, do you mean like fees to the park?
The fees to the park
Pavilion, rentals?
actually the camp, because during the summertime, she
Runs it.
She helps run camp.
Does that come to the general fund and is handed back out, or do you handle it on your own?
We handle it on our own. That's our
Really?
revolving account that comes out of it.
And the temps I take it are the seasonal employees?
That's the seasonal employees, yeah.
Do you know approximately how many you hire for that?
We hired 9 for that line item this year.
Okay, advertising, office, everything else is fairly, generally, I don't, JP, if you have any questions, or Dean, the rest looks pretty good on that page?
Pretty good.
Okay, community center we did. Now we're over to parks, John, 6,500.
Yep.
This is 95,000. What salaries would that involve?
So that would be the park foreman and park maintenance, the second in command down there, so 2 full-time positions for that.
Is George still there?
Yep, George is still there. We're not letting him go.
He says he's 95 or something.
And temporary clerical.
A lot of temporary positions.
More temp positions here? Or-
Yeah,
Summer park.
that is 10 positions. That's 78,000 represents 10 positions.
And these would be booth workers?
Those are maintenance workers, booth workers, security.
Security?
Yeah.
A little.
And then, once again, our department underwrites 2 positions. And then through program fees, we charge our softball leagues, things like that. We use that income to offset seasonal employees as well. So we kick in on that as well.
So what I think I hear you saying, John, is that 2 of the 10 positions are really kind of full-time? Is that
5 of the 10.
5 of the 10?
Yeah, they work 39 weeks. The 2 work year-round, and then 3 for 39 weeks.
I'm lost. I thought we said 10 positions on the 5.
Yeah, the other ones are seasonal positions, like
So 5
full-
early season positions, 5 full-time positions?
of the 10.
Of the 10.
Of that
Of the
number,
10,
you're looking
in
at
the
you're looking at 7 seasonal and 3 full-time, and then the other ones above it are 2 full-time year-round.
7 seasonal, 3 full-time. Those 3 full-time, the 39?
39, yeah.
Or 39 plus the park picks up the rest?
No, our park picks up, for those positions, we lay them off in the wintertime. Our park picks up our mid-season, our June, July, August workers, seasonal workers that really get us through the crunch of, the park with the mowing and
Right.
everything associated with that. So that's not in this line.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Okay. Under facilities, what's that entail? 5262, it's right in that line under personnel. I'm sorry, John, if you don't have one. I just wondered if you knew it.
5262, facilities one.
Yeah,
That's grills for the park, grass seed, loam, stone, things like
Gotcha.
that. Trash cans, picnic tables we purchased this year, stuff like that.
55%. Anything else on that page? Okay, moving on to paint, there's nothing on that next page. Nothing on restroom repairs. Cost capital. Veterans review. And grand total is .33.
Not a big increase.
Okay. Now, moving over to section 4, Public Works.
So we're done with John?
Well, he's got a couple under Public Works, the cemeteries.
Oh,
That's why I want to get John done.
I got it.
Yeah, I have cemetery and tree warden.
Right, under section 4, I believe it starts on page 17 where John is of 4.
I understand.
Should believe his is page 17 of 4. I can get there. Maybe on there.
Brookside Cemetery.
Brookside Cemetery, East Street.
I'm curious, Melissa, why isn't this just under parks? Just to make it easier, but
I
You know why?
believe that the departments, the 4 departments, that's it's the state general ledger, like this is the group, cemetery and tree warden kind of goes in a public works department. It's the way the accounting is organized, so that's why it's a lot of cemeteries and public works split it, and Park and Rec split these things differently, but this is the, if you look at the UMIS accounting manual, that section 4.3, 4.3 is for, the wrong one, but the 4.9s are cemetery lines.
okay. Yeah.
The Brookside East Street, the regular salary, John, is that why I take it one person?
Yep, 1 and 1, so 1 salary and then 1 part-time, and that's another 39-week position, and then a layoff during the winter time for that site.
Do they handle the other cemeteries?
Just those 2, just Brookside and East Street.
So Main Street, there's not much going on there?
Main Street's their own separate.
There's no money in there.
Group that handles that.
And everything else is pretty,
Yeah, we level funded there.
any other questions? One is 18. I don't have any really, I assume the road, we put in a new, you put in a new road, or somebody put in a new road up at Brookside. That was out of funds?
Perpetual care.
Perpetual.
But we had 23,000 and change left over from like 2008. The city voted 25,000 to redo those roads, to try to do a piece of the road. And they didn't do anything with it. It's after years. So we appropriated about 52,000 of perpetual care funds to match up with the 23 and change. We did about 62% of the road. We still have 38% to go. We're looking at probably another 50 to 55,000 to finish off that project. We're looking probably 2 to 3 years down the road. We're hoping to sell our new cemetery lot area that when the high school project finished up, they were using that road down to the, yep. When that was done in the contract, we let them pile everything in there as part of that contract. They had to clean it out, take the old road out, which was buried from the previous project that was never removed. So they removed that, they graded it, hydroseeded it, and we're hoping it takes the spring and summer, we can start selling lots there and then replenish the perpetual care fund.
I'll take 2.
I was gonna say, once we open it up, it's gonna go quick. People have already called about it.
Anything else on Brookside and East Street? JP? How about Main Street? I see one,
1,000.
just an increase in purchase of service. John, do you know what that is on Main Street?
That's, Main Street's not us, that's Floyd Hicks. I don't know.
Okay, so you're not sure exactly.
From us.
I know there's no real one. It's gone from 4,800 to 55. It's not like a budget breaker here. Okay, and then over to the tree warden.
I was just
Oh, go
wondering.
ahead, I'm sorry, Dan.
Well, the overtime is George, right?
Yes, for the tree
No.
warden, that says, yeah.
Tree warden services, explain what that is as opposed to what George does.
That's our outside contract.
So outside contractor to deal with trees
Yeah,
that
when we
George
do
does.
the bids, we do 2 bids a year.
And that's for cutting down
That's
trees.
cutting
'Cause
down
George
all
doesn't do
the-
that, he
yeah.
inspects the trees and
George
tells-
goes out, determines which trees need to be attended to. We have a master list, try to work on that master list, but then as storms come through and we find more, some get bumped up and some get bumped down, but each year he taxes as many as possible. This year, we've also done some replanting. Instead of taking down, we've made a conscious effort to replant trees throughout the city as well. So George started that process this year.
Okay, thank you.
Just, go ahead, sure.
So it's your department that would handle damage from storms, the major storms we had several years ago?
In the parks.
In the parks, but how about outside the parks?
Yeah, George was out cutting and determining which ones, because that project was so big, that turned out to be a DPW issue.
Wasn't it also FEMA supported?
Yeah, or, well,
Eventually.
was supposed, yeah.
They were supposed to
Yeah,
pay
yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
So his determination is like if a resident, it wants to take down a tree, and George will go out and determine if it's on city property or private property. If it's on city property, he has to determine whether it needs to be taken down or if it's healthy enough and maybe just a little bit of pruning or whatever. And then, that's what he does for that. And then as far as big storms go, if there's anything like that, our guys do go out and take care of. But anything that was like that storm way back, in October, a couple of years ago, that's beyond our scope and handling.
Anything else, Dan?
Okay, for me.
I think that really is it for Mr. Mason.
So why don't we move culture and recreation, because we didn't do it last night. Right?
Well, we have to do, we have to approve section 6.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, is that,
I'll move that we approve section 6.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second to approve section 6, cultural and recreation. With a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Do we want to deal with John's 195, or is that?
Oh, yes,
Is he here for that?
John, while you're here, I know you brought up the, thanks, Dan,
Oh, yeah.
the bonding
Yeah.
issue. Let me just get that out. I know that it was brought up, and we set a public hearing for next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I think it's fairly self-explanatory, but if you just want to put it on the record here at Finance, this is a grant you have, and as part of that grant, we have to guarantee, or the city has to guarantee, that there's money available if for some reason everything fell through, that we could somehow afford to do this anyway.
Exactly. It's a $195,000 grant from the state on a reimbursement level. So we are providing, we're building, I just got the specs and the cost estimate yesterday. So our numbers look good on getting this done for the 195, no problem.
The bond is required by the grant agencies?
Yes.
Just in case something comes up and they can't give us the money?
No, they want to assure that we can pay for the project.
Pay for it up front.
Pay for it up front.
They're guaranteeing the money.
They're guaranteeing the reimbursement though,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We
they're
need to
guaranteed.
guarantee that we can pay for it.
So we do have to pay for it upfront.
It has to be
The
completed by
funding has
year
to be in
end.
place.
It has to be completed by December 31st. We have it scheduled for last week of September, first week of October. What we're looking for is to get the project completed.
Well, usually these strategies are that we get refunded before we actually borrow the money, is that correct?
That's always nice.
Well, yeah, because there's
But the
interest.
requirement of the
Right.
grant is.
Right.
Melissa, is there I assume different grants take different time getting reimbursed? I mean, some are faster than others, or are there
Yeah, certain-
any type of timetable? I mean,
Certain groups are faster than others. I don't recall, we're going to be doing 2 of these park projects around the same time. I don't recall, there are certain ones that are notoriously slow or sent to kick things back, but others will pay in a few weeks.
Right.
We generally, $195,000, we can usually manage that within the city's cash flow. This particular agency, I guess, has a history that they require an appropriation or authorization to borrow, so that for whatever reason, a city or town that was awarded such a project didn't say, well, we can't do it because we don't have $50,000 to start the project before you reimburse us. And typically, these projects, you don't even, you start the project, you spend a little money, you get a little reimbursement. You don't usually float the entire project. You ask for reimbursements in sections.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, the governor really wants to get, so I think getting reimbursed is not going to be a problem. He wants to make sure this is on his resume as he walks
Before
out the
he-
door.
That's why it has to be done by December 31st.
Yes, exactly.
I'll move that we accept this bonding authorization.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the bonding authorization of $195,000 for bidding and construction of new open space recreational facility at Nonotuck Park. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Now I guess we'll thank you.
Good night.
All right, thank you for your time. See you later. I'm going back to my office.
Public Works, is that what we're done now?
We're going to do Public Works unless, were you intending on staying, Jack? Are you here for housing?
I'm just
or-
learning.
Oh, you're just learning, okay. So I didn't know if you had a section that you wanted to, I would have gone to it so
No.
that you didn't have, but if you're just here to
No, I'm
watch,
just
then
here
we
for
appreciate any,
Christmas.
You missed a good one last time.
I heard. I was in Boston at Fenway,
Oh,
not for a game.
But you were a friend.
I was at Fenway.
But you saw the trophy, right?
Sure I
She had a whisper there.
she doesn't even know what a Red Sox is.
did. That's not true.
It's a bird, it flies over and
okay, moving over to Public Works. Patty Cotton is business manager or office manager is going to fill in tonight for Joe. I think you do most of the budgeting anyway, Patty, so you should be
she runs the whole thing.
starting on 4010. Patty, are you there? Just like we've done with everybody else, DPW administration, the salaries, I take it, or how many people involved there?
2 admins for the first line, the office manager and the director for the second line, and a stipend for the 3 board members.
Okay.
The BPW only has 3 members?
Yes.
The board itself, yeah. It's three. So supervisory was how many again?
You said 2 supervisors.
Two administrators.
Joe and
Supervisors,
Patty.
2 admin.
Oh, That's you and Joe.
Joe.
Still the
Correct.
supervisors.
Right.
Line 5112. Patty, how many?
2,
2 in 5112 and 2 in 5111.
correct.
223.
223, good.
The stipend is the, one of the
Yeah.
things we're looking
Someone explain longevity to me again. I always forget what that
Sure.
is.
If you're here 10 years, then you're eligible for longevity. And it's very different than what most other departments get. Like, again, we're talking pay plans, so it's totally different. Like with schools, sometimes it's a week's pay. With pay plan people, it's $100 a year. And so technically, if you're here after 10 years, and I know for mine, I had to be here 12 years to get my 10-year longevity, which is $100 a year. And it increases at
Big bump.
15, and then it increases at 20. So at 15 years, you get $200. At 20 years, you get $400.
I think it goes.
It doesn't go much.
Goes up to 500.
500 is tops. Like
30 years.
Yeah, well, Betty's at 500, so I don't know if it's 40 years or whatever, but that's it. And it's a year, and it's given out the first week in December.
So every year that number varies depending on where people are in there.
Exactly. If you're here 5 years, you first of all, like for 10 years, you don't get anything, and then after that you get 100, and then it goes up every year.
Is it a one-time award, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Generally the first week of December, everybody gets it.
Right.
Whether you get 100 or 200 or 500 comes out one time thing. But 500 is the limit.
Anything else on that page?
Nope.
Moving on, 5%, down 5% on this. Okay. Next page, anything?
I'm just curious why fuel is down.
Because the prices are down.
Really?
What I do is I do an average. So I took last year's usage, and then I averaged this year's prices, and then I counted the gallon times. It's a guess.
It's a guesstimate.
I can only, so far it's been pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, because it's down 12,000.
Do you guys contract your fuel out ahead of time?
Yes.
Like go out to bid kind of?
Yeah, it goes out to bid. We just got it in. We haven't done it.
Good.
Nothing under capital acquisitions. DPW engineering. I think that's Mr. Gracia.
That's one engineer who needs help because he can't.
Do everything.
Well, we can't even use him to do a lot of our work now, so we're kind of stuck right now because he's on so many projects. And so we can't even use him to do our Chapter 90 work, so we're not quite sure what we're going to do this year.
Because he's overseeing all the capital projects.
He's got the mill project, he's got the Grand Street
The
project,
grants.
he's got the intersection, he just finished up the fish ladder. It goes on and on.
While we're talking about that, if I may, last night's meeting, there was discussion about having the city engineer take water samples of the
Stormwater.
stormwater.
That's the new.
It seemed like, does he have to be the one that takes the
We're short in
samples?
every
Is there some-
department, that's the problem. You've
Yeah.
got to find somebody who can do it.
Using it, I mean, if he's on salary and he's doing it on his own time, okay. But if it's city time, that's a pretty good salary for
Well, it's gotta be
collecting
timely.
water samples.
That's to be done at a
And I know
certain
it has to be
time,
done at
too.
certain times
Right.
during the storm period.
Right.
And maybe if he comes in, he's not getting overtime, that's better than calling somebody in overtime. Just wanted to mention that.
Still, that's a lot.
In addition to all the other things that he's doing, that's a tremendous,
And if I think-
tremendous amount of work.
I think if what I heard last night from Joe and Patty, both were,
We don't know.
what we're afraid of is what's coming down on stormwater, and if that point, I think what Joe was trying to say is, we would have to do something other than Mr. Gracia doing this, that we'd have to bring in or hire outside contractors. Do I have that right, Patty?
Because there might be some billing adjustment done
Right, through the board.
per company that stormwater users, so to speak.
On the flip side, we have to say we're fortunate to be able to be doing those projects that Jim's working on.
Yeah.
because we have the grants coming in.
And the grants are very,
And that's
very
great.
competitive. We've just been
And we've
extremely
been-
lucky, but it's a good thing that we've been able to receive them all, but it's stretched our departments really thin. Jim, our planning department, our grants department, I mean, they're all stretched thinner than thin can be, but it's at the same point, it's a good thing because we're
None of
getting
these
a lot
grants
of
come
things
with
done.
engineering as part of the grant, like an independent engineer as part?
They still have to have the local to say what's really going on under the road, what's really there, because like there's a clerk who works over on Grant Street, there's an engineer, but they're still gonna ask the local guy what's really there under the road, what really needs to be done.
Okay.
You know, it's engineering, I think, is pretty, street maintenance, nothing this year. DPW highway, 324.
You said yesterday we're down two people there, Patty, since '08 or?
We're down 1.5, and right now we're down, we need to hire 2 people. So right now, it's supposed to be 6 and 1 supervisor, but right now it's 4 and 1 supervisor until we can get 2 people hired. But we're paying out somebody who's been here a long time, so we can't hire anybody quite yet. So they're down 2 positions that are supposed to be filled, but we don't have the money to fill them.
The person is retiring or something?
Yes,
Mhm.
so when somebody retires after they've been here
At a
for
high
30
salary,
years,
you can-
highest foreman, been here 30 years,
You
6
have
weeks
more.
vacation.
You'll be able to hire 2 more.
No, it's somebody else left also.
Oh, okay.
Anything else on that?
But that puts a stretch on your budget, so the people available to do the potholes and fill them just aren't there. Is that true? Patty, can you comment on that?
We're really stretched thin. 4 guys is not enough. And our sweeper's down too, our sweeper's broken. So that's a big issue right now too, we're trying to find the money for that.
There was appropriation supposedly for the state on potholes. I don't know if that,
We got
did we
that.
get that? Is this just, we don't have the personnel to,
Nope,
or we've used?
none of the above. It came in, they finally went through, it's for $70,000. We opened 2 bids this morning, one for a chip seal on Line Street, one for crack sealing. The bids are a lot more than what we have, but we're hoping we can use Chapter 90. We just got approved our Chapter 90, the governor signed. So we might end up using some of that, but we're also stretched because the intersection's going over budget also. So we're kind of trying to figure out
Figure which way we're gonna
which way we're gonna go with it.
Anything else, JP? Dan? Medical, a lot of it's equipment and travel, and they're all about not large increases. Like Patty, on the bituminous concrete, it's up 41%, but I'm assuming that's just cost? I mean, that's
It's
just,
really the road conditions.
Just the-
They're trying this year, when school gets out, they want to do something on Williston. They're gonna shim it. Our guys are gonna do it. We're not gonna put it out to bid because we don't have enough money for Chapter 90. So they're gonna shim this, and they're also gonna go out to East Street and try to shim part of East Street. So that's what the extra money is for Blacktop, to try to fix these roads.
when you say shim, for a
Shim.
non-DPW type person, maybe you could explain it to me.
There's some of them out on East Street now, you're gonna just see long patches of blacktop
Okay, so-
instead of little holes.
I
where
see,
the water
you
gets
cut,
under
and
them.
it's a bigger section, I
It's a
see.
larger section.
Okay,
And
I
it'll stay
understand.
together better.
I understand.
Have we had much of an increase in Chapter 90?
No.
Okay, I expected that answer.
It's about as exciting as Chapter 70.
Street improvements, not much there, a little professional and technical. Any questions there?
Professional technical went up 100%, all the way to 8,000. What happened?
We have to pay the police officers.
That's the professional
That's
technical.
professional.
That's what that is. For all the sidewalks, and that's what it is basically. It's mostly sidewalk repair. so they need a police officer on duty.
Looked like it was up in 13 and then down in 14 and now back up.
Depends on how much we
What
can
you're
do and
getting.
where they're working.
Just
So we
varies.
try to
You
get-
expect
The amount of
need.
jobs.
Varies by the
big part is
project.
we try to get the sidewalks that are the most active, because they're the ones that we're more worried about people falling on. We're way under what we're supposed to be doing for sidewalks. But then when you get into the busy areas, then we really need the police officers there to keep the kids off it, so we keep the traffic around.
Anything else, JP? Highway vehicle, nothing. Snow and ice, overtime.
So, Melissa, just to re-inform me how we use emergency snow. If we budget 115 or whatever it is, then, and we're over because we're allowed to be over, that money comes out of what? Free cash or something?
The following budget.
Following
It's
budget
raised-
year.
It's raised on our, when we set our tax rate, it's the first thing that has to be accounted for, is the deficit from this year. So this year's deficit is almost 400,000. And we've talked about here about raising the appropriation for the snow and ice deficit. The reason that it stays the same is if you raise it to something like 500,000, then you can never decrease it, and then if something else were to come up, you can't move that money from snow and ice, even if it's June, you know? But the challenge, of course, is that the year that you want to increase this is not the year that you're raising it, one of your largest deficits
Right.
ever. So we're
Like, not this year, not 15.
So you don't want to cover a big deficit and raise this at the same time. But we've talked about bringing it up to about 175, I think, is that what we thought, or 200? But we couldn't do that and cover this year's deficit at the same time. So hopefully next year will not be as harsh, and then that's the time to move this up to more of an average number, so that we aren't always hitting snow emergency January 1st.
So that's the 115 that's at the bottom of the column.
Right.
That's what we're appropriating. Then
Right.
So does that mean, like, just going back to like 13, we probably appropriated 115, but the actual, what it came in was 347.
Right.
Yeah, so we won't know, well, we know it's 400, so this will be an ugly one.
And like you said, we do want to increase it, but definitely
Not this year.
not in 15.
And try to cover all.
That's our goal for 16.
Gotcha.
But just that 400K that we're over in deficit, that has to
We
come
had
out
to cover
somewhere.
it. It came off,
It comes
off
off.
15. That was.
Right, but I mean, it comes off the top, so you've already
Right.
paid
Yep.
for it.
Yep. Just
Okay.
like, same thing as choice, at 1.8 million.
Okay. So, okay, we've had to pay for that immediately. We have to pay the deficit off immediately. We don't wait until free cash comes in or something.
No, no.
You gotta put it
It's
in the
gone.
budget, it's gotta be paid for.
Exactly.
Street lights down.
That one's me.
Saving us money doing
Where are we
this.
doing street? Oh, right here.
Street lights.
If you're wondering why it's down,
We'd like to see it down. Anything we see, any negatives we see, we like.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping it'll stay down, but really, most of that can be attributed to our solar project. That's one of the utilities that gets the credit, and it's the most obvious credit shown on the streetlights. So they don't have a lot of other things going on in here,
Mhm.
So that's one budget that's been doing, that did actually good this year. As you remember, I did a transfer out of there into our building ops. So that was a
Right.
nice budget. So I'm hoping it'll,
Keep
hoping I
trending
can
up.
count on it.
Can we, I don't know how Mike got the LEDs originally, that might have been a grant or something, but
The LEDs were a grant.
grant from Wemco or somebody.
It was a different grant.
Are we considering getting more of them, considering they're,
If there was a grant out there to do more than what we've done, yes, but they're very, very, very,
yeah,
very,
I
very
know that.
expensive. Very expensive, even to replace. The good thing is you don't have to
You
replace them
shouldn't have
often,
to
but when you
replace them for
do,
years.
I think I have one or two. Yeah.
As long as I have Captain Alberti here, the street lights, you know, the LED ones like versus the
Yes.
ones that aren't, is there, from a public safety standpoint or police standpoint, is there, do you find one better than the other, or would you, I mean, have you found the LEDs look like they shoot straight or down, don't illuminate the light, but I was wondering.
They tend to be brighter,
Right.
so that we haven't had any.
You haven't had
at all.
any issues of, you wouldn't,
No. But I know exactly what you're saying, as opposed to.
one kind of goes out a little
Zane,
more.
A halo effect as opposed
to straight down.
Sure.
I was just wondering from a
No.
police standpoint, if you
No,
felt there was,
whatsoever.
one was better from traffic or safety.
No, we haven't had any issues, and it's my opinion that the LEDs are brighter, so you still get a lot.
And to answer your question, Dan, too, I'm also been working monthly with the Energy Advisory Committee on any type of, green grants, anything on there. So as you know, we were successful on the one for the school, but we're looking at anything like this that comes in, anything regarding utilities, any savings at all.
I guess moving on, any other questions on streetlights? Moving on to motor repair, salary 93, Patty, do you have no
It's 2
number?
employees,
Two?
2, and they do a lot of work for the employees.
They
They're
repair
amazing.
all the vehicles for all the departments, including schools. Well, schools, it's not the buses, that's independent contract, but any vehicle there.